Welcome to Tech Topics brought to you by Cybervenger. We help keep small businesses stay protected and compliant with cutting-edge cybersecurity and IT solutions.
Hello everyone, my name is Andy. I'm the Managing Consultant for Cybervenger. Today we're doing another deep dive into the NIST 800-171 standard, and we're talking about one of the 110 controls, and if we look down here, that control is 3.13.10. And it just says very plainly, establish and manage cryptographic keys for cryptography employed in organizational systems. Second pane doesn't really shed a whole lot of light. It just says cryptographic key management and establishment can be performed using manual procedures or mechanisms afforded by manual procedures. Organizations define key management requirements in accordance with federal applicable laws, blah, 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 blah. Not a lot of light on this. I had to kind of dig in this, and then something occurred to me as what this really means. The key word is management. Anytime you hear the word management of something, what that means is that you were able to log, that you were able to track, inventory, apply policy, monitor, that kind of thing. And you want those sort of things to define management, right? So if you have cryptographic keys, if you're using a key system where you have, private and public key, that needs to be generated somehow. You need to record, document how that's being done, what system, why you're using that particular encryption style. The keys themselves need to be stored and secured, and you need to know who has these keys, what kinds of keys they are. This is all about documentation and securing your private keys. Securing your private keys is a big deal. In fact, I really feel like this should be, that's what they should say, just secure your private keys. I think that's what it's really talking about. There's another example of what they're talking about, though. You need what's called an ECA certificate. You get that from the DibNet site, and you use that to authenticate yourself when you report cyber incidences. So I work with a lot of customers. It's kind of a pain to get this thing, but you have a little dongle thing that with a key loads up ExoStar. I forget the vendor, but the point is, you can get a software that, depending on which prime contractor you're working with, you could rate the certificate and you maintain who has access to it. You have to make sure who has custody of this thing, where it is. You have to protect it, manage it, right? And that allows you to connect up and authenticate yourself to to the DibNet, and it's used not just to prove that who you are to be allowed to submit the report, but it's for non-repudiation. So you can't claim later that wasn't you that submitted this thing. Oh, it's a lie. So once you submit it, you're committed, right? Because there's proof that it was you. Nobody else will be able to generate that request with your certificate. You better hope not. Otherwise, that's itself another breach. So that's one of the reasons that your certificate management is so important. A lot of people think that this means you have to deploy a PKI or a private key infrastructure. You certainly can. I think it's very helpful to have one of those. They're a little tricky. I'm actually planning on doing a video, I think, of how to build one from scratch with Microsoft. If you already own Microsoft licensing, there's no additional charge to build a PKI infrastructure. You only need two servers to do it right. One that use your offline CA that you publish in Active Directory, and all your devices in Active Directory accept that certificate. And that one certifies your subordinate, and that subordinate one that actually does work. If there's a problem with that subordinate or gets corrupted or whatever, you get rid of it, you bring a new one inside and no one online, and again, you bring your offline back on, recertify it, bring your offline back off, and that's as good as new. And all those old certificates will still be accepted, and the new ones will be automatically accepted by your entire Active Directory infrastructure, however you chain that out. And we're not going to go into details in this video. These are supposed to be 5-minute long videos. We're just trying to give an idea, an example of what certificate management is. PKI infrastructure is nice because that's management, right? You have a single console that you could show what's there, who got it, when, what it's used for. You still need to maintain your own documentation, though, that talks about why you're doing things, what you're trying to encrypt, what's your goal, where's the CUI, and what kind of encryption are you using? You have to make sure that you use high enough standard. If you're doing SSL encryption, you're doing keys, like for PKI, you want to make sure you're using 2048 bits, 2048 bits. The one 1024 is not enough. It's got to be 2048 now. So, and if you're using an AES 256, that's a symmetrical key. That is You want to AES 128 is valid still at the moment, but 256 is kind of coming down. It's been heavily in use. It's requirement to coming down the pike. I would future-proof things by using that for, BitLocker, for any standard using. You go 256 VPNs, all that stuff. It both tends to be used for local at-rest encryption and for in-transit encryption. And really anything that's FIPS approved. But I'd like to just say, don't worry about FIPS, AES 256, and you're done. I'm trying to keep this channel practical, right? What do you actually do in the real world? Everyone supports AES 256, just use that for that. But for the asynchronous keys, we got public and private, you need to manage that some way and track it and secure it and log it and all that kind of thing. That's what this requirement's about. It's a little redundant. This whole family of controls seems to be very redundant, kind of beating home those final points. We're in the final stretch here. We're closing in on almost 100 controls that we've gone over out of 110. So I think the framers want to kind of reiterate some of the points they made and put a little spin on it. We've definitely talked about cryptography before in previous videos and the requirements of things. This kind of brings up the point that you need to manage the keys, not just have them out there and not thought about. So that's all I got for this control. I appreciate your time, and I hope you will check us out on the next one and see it home to the last 110 controls.
Thanks for watching. We hope this video has provided valuable information to you. Be sure to share this video with other small business owners to spread the word about the importance of cybersecurity. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. If you want more information about cybersecurity, visit us at www.cybervenger.com.